जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम 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 जय जय राम ओम श्री
Recording is on YouTube? It's on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
This one? Yes. What should I type on the YouTube?
Just Ramman. Anandashram, Kanhangad, Ramman.
Anandashram, that's it.
Anandashram, Kanhangad,
Ramman,
Ramman.
that's enough.
Shri Ram, Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai 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 Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, 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 Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai
Shri Ram,
Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram, Jai
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram, Jai
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om. Shri 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 Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Hari Om to everybody.
Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om to everybody. Pranam. Ah. What is to be shared today?
Slow Ramna. About slow Ramna.
Slow Ramna. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. One should keep on experimenting as to how we can still the mind. There is no hard and fast rule, but as we keep on trying with all earnestness, we will try to chalk out a system by which the mind will be slowly trained to become still. We should not forget these words of Papa. The object is to still the mind. This should not be lost sight of. Sit down. Why are we trying to still the mind? Mind is nothing but a thought flow. And thoughts, as you know, is always reveling on the various sense objects, on the various memories, on the various desires, on the various situations which have given us different types of experience. So all those things are now fully in our mind. With the result, we hardly think about the power behind the mind. Not that we don't want to know, we have not been told at all. No? Or in other words, even if we are told, we may not understand, so God did not make it possible for us to understand it so far. Everything is before us. These simple truths have been dealt with in Kenopanishad. The moment we read that, we should not read it and go, then we may not have any idea. That because of which the eyes are able to see, but at the same time the eyes cannot see it. It's a simple truth, it's not a tall talk. Because everyone, the moment you open our eyes, the eyes see objects. We are carried away by it. We hardly think about the power behind the seeing. That is why Papa insists about stilling the mind. It is the core of our being where thoughts are not there. Further, it cannot be explained because everything is interpreted through thoughts. Stilling the mind is not easy when it is running about. When the mind ceases to be, then you realize you are the Atman. Atman, let us not again give any color. The simple power, the subtle and mysterious power. So the method which we have been trying to use is chanting. So first of all, we should be very clear that then I am chanting the name of one who is within me, who is making me to chant. So if that experience has to come, the individual should be at least free for a second from the thoughts. Then we get a glimpse. Yesterday we said, every now and then we have a dip. Straight away we cannot do it. Morning when we take a bucket and put soap powder and then put the hot water, straight away if you put the hot water, we will not be able to rinse it, stir it, because it is too hot. So what do? As soon as we open the tap, the first water will be cold water. So with that we start stirring, and by the time it becomes hot, gradually it becomes hotter, like that. And by the time the body gets accustomed to it, body gets the needed, capacity to bear the heat. Think about it. These are all something which you can learn from our practical life. So in one go, we may not be able to have the stillness. So even in the midst of activities, even in the midst of chanting, chanting is a chanting is a sound coming out, from the sound, from the silence, from the stillness. So we make use of that sound to take us to this stillness, soundlessness. In one go, we may not be able to go. So there, when here we have been blessed with Papa, out of his own experience, has brought about this triune path, where the mainstay is on chanting the Nam. So we can leave everything and concentrate upon it. But this should be very clear. Chanting, I am chanting the name of one who is within me, who is making me to chant. So we employ different methods. Initially, when we see different ragas, tunes, we are carried away. All these thoughts will not come. We find joy just like when we hear a music concert. We are transported to a different realm for a few moments. Beautiful, we say. But after the program is over, we are back to square one. When we remember that raga or song, we enjoy something, that's all. But how does it get connected to our life? That is what is important. Similarly, when we have been coming to ashram or hearing Ramnam in various, through YouTube, whatever you call it, whenever we have satsang, beautiful tunes, we are unknowingly, we are carried away by the tune or the accompaniment or the person who chants it. All these things unknowingly prevent us to eke out the real purpose of chanting. Real purpose of chanting is to have a glimpse of the soundlessness, silence. So we employ various techniques, out of which one technique is slow chanting. And when we do that, when we stretch the sound, Shri Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. We have to, this is relative. One may be able to get it even in the speed chanting. That's why that when we know that we have not been able to get a glimpse of the silence behind the sound, we employ different techniques. One of the technique is slow chanting. It comes out from our own struggle. If it is clear that the slow chanting also, suppose it becomes a habit, going on the superficial lip level, surface level, then we may not be able to derive the fullest benefit. But when we chant with this bhavana, when you stretch every word, the tendency of the mind to go out will be arrested to a very great extent. And the moment it starts going out, stop, that's all. Again restart. So the slow chanting also, there is no fixed slow chanting. Each one of us has to devise. So far we have been following what others are doing. So that is why it doesn't leave much impact. At that time you are very happy, that's all. Neither we try to know why we are chanting, nor we try to evaluate whether what the chanting has done to me in my daily life. That is why nowadays Papa gives us this, let us not talk about all philosophies. We need harmony at home, harmony at workplace, harmony with friends. Simple. This is our aim, that's all. Harmony at home, harmony at workplace, harmony with friends. So we are trying to understand whether this Ramnam is helping us to achieve this. If it is not helpful now, I must decide how to improve. Because Ramnam, our Guru says, Ramnam is the panacea. That is the answer for everything. So we have unshakable faith in the words of our Master, but still we have not been able to derive. So we employ. So the faith is there, trust is there in him. Now we are trying to devise the method in such a way not suggested by anybody else. That we have already tried. And that we will try to make use of it. Okay, whenever we go another tune, it's all right. But for our individual sadhana, if we bring out a pattern which will help us to have a glimpse of the base from which the nama comes. That is what we need. And then we will attend, we will hear, we will enjoy all other tunes. But for our individual sadhana, we will have our own. So when we are on this path, it just struck to us that slow chanting is very, very helpful. Papa also the other day we read out, that slow chanting will mental chanting and slow chanting. So mental chanting comes only, there should be a commitment on our part. It is not like, we are joining a program. Those are all okay. But a stage should come when we try to evaluate what has happened to me. When we come to ashram, there are so many times and places where nama is being sung. We attend. And on some days we find, it was superb. Meaning we have been able to control our thought. We have been able to concentrate upon it. It has led to us some pleasant feeling. Everything is accepted. But after that, what happened? So fine-tuning should go on every day. So two aspects, mental chanting, slow chanting. Purpose is to know the source. Why are we trying to know the source? Then only we will be able to properly relate ourselves with the rest of the creation. Because only by knowing the source, first intellectually and then slowly experientially, we will be able to identify the common factor in everybody. And when I know the common factor, even in a crude form, slowly our relationship becomes harmonious. Instead of seeing my mother as mother, instead of seeing my children as my children, my parents as my parents, I will also try to add one more dimension. The same source has come in that form. When I go to the office, when I meet my boss, when I meet my colleagues, when I meet my customer, I will see them as them, plus we will try to add the source by which I am there. The same source is there. This is how we can harmonize with the rest of the creation. Because in slow chanting, we have got ample time to do the reflection. Papa's own words throw some light to us. What did he say about his sadhana? In one place, he makes it very clear. Ramdas, through a ceaseless repetition of the divine mantram, side by side with the concentrated meditation on the all pervading, eternal, ever blissful, indwelling God, had attained freedom and peace even before his advent into the world as a mendicant. These words, side by side with the concentrated meditation. So, ceaseless repetition and side by side with the concentrated meditation on the indwelling reality. If this has to take place, if we are chanting at a greater speed, Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Om Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Om Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Om Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. It may be possible, for somebody it may not be possible. That is why we said, it is relative. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram 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 Om. Any time, any tune, when we try, are we in a position to side by side develop this capacity to concentrate on the power which makes me to chant? So here is the selection. When we go to a shopping, when you go to the textile shops, selection, the salesman gives on placing before us various types, and out of which, wherever there is an inner alignment, we pick it up. Similarly, here Papa has provided to us through many of his creation different types of tunes. Out of which now we have to select. Or if nothing is occurred, then we will not buy that, So we have to see whether anything is helping, any type of chanting helps me to connect myself to him. Papa's own words are, name is the link between us and God who is seated within. Have I been able to link myself, the core of my being? And when I start doing it, unknowingly, unwittingly, there will be an effort on my part to link, to establish a link between me and the rest of the creation. That is what is called values or harmonize. Slowly, that knitting ourselves with each other. Not only to human beings, objects and situations. At home, we are handling so many things. We are passing through so many situations in a day. Every time we have to keep up this balance called harmony, So I must have a technique. I cannot change the world. I can only change myself by which this harmony is experienced. So the first and foremost thing is to choose a particular type of nama, in our case, as Ananda Papa's spiritual children, because we are comfortable with Ram Nam. We have been trying to derive the maximum benefit from chanting. But still, though we have not attained, still that, what do you call that, intense and aspiration is there. I must derive. That is why yesterday that topic came, when we are restless, Papa gives us this soothing effect. Keep on dipping once, twice, thrice. It won't come easily. And one day, the Hridaya Granthi will open. Suddenly I become aware he is here. Why this question again? Now it is becoming clear. So the Hridaya Granthi, you remember what?
153 article number. 153.
Swamiji, but the stillness doesn't remain.
Nama?
Why? Stillness doesn't remain. Why?
Stillness will not remain, because stillness is our base. Thoughts will not remain. When the thoughts are set at rest, then only we can experience that. If we say that stillness doesn't remain, that means our thoughts are, our mind is so powerful, it is so active. If you want to see the bottom of the bucket, the water should be clear, and settled.
Yes.
So the nature of the mind is always to be active. That is its nature. So, and we have only that vehicle called thought. And through the thought, we are trying to experience the thoughtless state. So initially, it will come and go. It is not that the stillness comes and goes. Stillness is ever with us. It is the thought that prohibits or prevents us from knowing it. So the thought does not easily become still. The sense that it is not getting easily focused, concentrated, committed. Because its nature is like that. That is its svabhava. So we keep on trying. That is why the slow chanting or mental chanting plays a very important role.
Yeah, slow chanting helps, Swamiji.
Slow chanting helps.
Slow chanting will definitely help.
It
That's
helps
what we have
to
found.
me.
Slow chanting, even if it is done for 5 minutes, we cannot expect every one of us to do it throughout. No. At least 5 or 10 minutes in a day. Suppose that means, we become aware of the core of our being. That is enough. I don't have to carry the money always, but when I know the fixed deposit is there in the bank, I get security, a sense of security. Not that I should always carry. I should become aware. If I don't become aware, I become miserable. Similarly, it is first stage is to know that stillness is my base.
So Ramnam is our security.
Huh?
Ramnam is our security.
Ramnam is our security. Ramnam will lead us. Why we say security? Ramnam will lead us to the core of our being. That is why in one place he said a stage should come when we even leave Ramnam. Ladder. Divine name is a ladder. These are all Papa's words again. By the help of which you ascend to the supreme zenith, when through the repetition of the name, the mind gets dissolved in the ocean of stillness and peace within you. Mind gets dissolved. Repetition of name is no longer necessary. Of course, off and on you can drink the nectar of the charming music of the name, but do not depend entirely upon this music for your peace and bliss. Why? Because no joy which is conditioned and dependent can be permanent. So the nama should enable me to arrest all other dissimilar thoughts, get myself concentrated on a particular thought, and the thought will lead me to a stage where that also gets dissolved. So to clear my mind from all other thoughts, I need one thought, and that thought is Ramnam.
Yes, Swami.
That is why it is held very important. That is why the mainstay of the ashram is chanting. Because ultimately we have to have a glimpse of our own original being. We have to have the original glimpse of the indwelling reality. That alone will lead me slowly to identify it in everybody, which expresses in the form of, as we said, the three types of harmony. Harmony at home, harmony at workplace, harmony with friends. Even if the circumstances are adverse, even if it is not coming according to our expectation, we will not become upset at all. Our harmony remains intact, provided we try to identify the common denominator in us. We don't mean realization state. Then all these talks will not come. Even when we are on the path, just like yesterday we said the dipping. No? So that is important, very, 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 very important. So 5 minutes, that's why Puja Swamiji said, he may not be doing it exactly like what Mataji expected everybody to do. But whenever he was chanting, it was chanting with whole concentration, even if it is for a short time, the impact of which remained with him for a longer time. Just like we take coffee decoction, no? When we straight away put the powder on the hot water, quantity so much is needed. And then we allow it to settle down, and then we take the water, coffee water, without disturbing what is just at the bottom. But in the case of decoction, 1 spoon from the filter we take, and then we put it, 1 spoon or 2 spoons at best. And then pour oil, water, milk and sugar, get 1 cup of first class coffee. So the decoction means the essence of it. The essence of the gross form of the powder, it is extracted from it and then it becomes the decoction. Similarly, Nama chanting also enables us from the various positive thoughts. For this, Satsang is necessary. If Ramnam has to become successful, I must be having a passive mind, a passive approach. Every time, suppose I shout, I lose my temper, I am always excited, I am restless. My chanting also will have the same thing. I may not be able to derive. So, what is to be followed? First, and then to be complemented with Ramnam, and then with that we try to move towards our core of our being. This should be very clear to us. It's good that again the point was raised.
What's the difficulty?
Huh?
Yes, Jayanti ma'am.
No. Whatever Swamiji said is perfectly all right.
Whatever Swamiji said is perfectly agreed.
So dip, again we will read that. It is so nice, especially for the sake of those who have not heard it. The knowledge of the Atman should be constantly with us. That requires constant practice. Suddenly you cannot jump into the infinite ocean of bliss. In the beginning, you have to dip yourself for some time. Dip yourself in the Nama. Leave the word dip. Try to go to the meaning. When we take a dip in the water, we don't remain there for long. And then come out, or again, one more dip. Certain people will have 3 dips, 5 dips, something like that. And then come out. So you have to dip yourself for some time and see the difference between this aspect we did not know. Papa gives us this new dimension. Suddenly you cannot jump into the infinite ocean of bliss. In the beginning, you have to dip yourself for some time and see the difference between the joy you get in that and the happenings you get outside. Go on dipping yourself more and more until you dissolve yourself in it and there is no more coming out, because there is nobody to come out. Papa's oft-quoted analogy is the salt doll. Salt doll goes to measure the depth of the river. What will happen? The moment it gets immersed. Nobody to come and tell us what is the depth. So we should be like that soft cloud. Something we can keep it in our mind. So the dipping means our chanting, you can say is a dipping. Chanting with the right attitude is equal to a dip in Ganges. Okay. Dip in Ganges with the right attitude, then alone it gives joy. If I dip only for the sake of dipping, then no. When I dip with the prayer that I have been told by all elders, masters, shastras, that if I take a dip in you, you will cleanse my mind free from all dirts, and I will be able to feel the calmness, the quietude, the peace, the serenity that is in me. Kindly, with that attitude, please bless me to have that. Probably the thickness of my impurity may not prevent to enable me to experience this with one dip. Similarly, we are also having a dip in Ramnam with the same type of prayer. Enable me to cleanse my mind so that I become aware of your presence. Intellectually, I know.
I wanted to tell that only, Swamiji.
I wanted to tell that only.
Correct.
We can take dip in Ram.
We have to keep on dwelling on it. It is a dialogue between us and him. I've been chanting all these times. I've been able to derive some joy, some happiness. I'm not content with that. I want that which stays with me throughout.
Yes, Swamiji.
Whatever the outer activities you may give, you can give. Okay. But I should be well stabilized, established in that. And then start doing it. Whatever activities you do, whatever activities you prompt, I will do. But I want that steadiness.
Yes.
So for that, you give me a tune that will help me to remain in that state while at least when I chant, so that when I come out of it at the subconscious level, I will become aware of it.
Yes, Swamiji, it helps us.
Hmm?
It helps me.
It helps me.
No, correct.
Hari Om, Swamiji.
Hari Om, Hari Om. So go on dipping yourself more and more until you dissolve yourself in it, and then there is no more coming out because there is nobody to come out. You can boldly declare, I am He, Anil Haq. And again, Papa was not satisfied. Go on doing sadhana. One day something in you will snap. Hridaya Grandhi breaks one day, and then you know you are the immortal self. Great assurance for all of us. Go on doing sadhana. One day something in you will snap. That which binds us, it releases. So for that, this slow chanting, each one can bring out their own chanting. So Papa suggests slow chanting and mental chanting is far more effective than any other method. And if we are clear that it should enable me to harmonize myself in the three tiers of my life: family, profession, society. At home, with friends, at the workplace. And those who have started practicing this, they are called Siddhaprajnas, That equanimity will always be there. They will not be tossed here and there. Even if something happens not to our liking, at home or in the office or with friends, we will not become upset. We will not form prejudices. We will not become dispirited or dejected or disappointed. It may be there at the surface level for a few moments, but we will be able to stabilize ourselves. All of us can go back to our own life and find out many such persons we have all come across. They may not be talking on these lines, but they are actually living that life. Cool, calm, passive, receptive. And then when we take up any studies, we find these are all the qualifications the Lord has pointed out. In 12th chapter, when he says, who is my dearest devotee, Harsha, Amarsha, Bhaya, Udvegai. Not getting elated, not getting dejected. Those who don't get elated just because something happens. Just because something had happened, we don't get dejected. Harsha, Amarsha, Bhaya, Udvegai. Then such a person is dear to me, a person who is steady-minded. So many things connect up one by one. No? So, in a nutshell, today Papa wanted all of us to derive the real benefit of chanting Lord's name. He was able to scale the heights, He gave it to us. But we have been practicing it, still we don't feel the same thing, As usually he says, the moment Ramdas starts chanting the name, he has started taste, tasting the sweetness of it. We want that sweetness, He would have employed so many methods. God would have made him to employ so many methods, and that which is suitable for that equipment, body, mind, intellect equipment, that would have given him this feeling. And he was able to retain it by his grace. So the take-home message is, we try to chant mentally, we try to chant slowly. It doesn't mean that always we have to do that. We join in all programs. We don't stipulate, you don't chant like this, you do like that. Some joy we are deriving, that is okay. But for our personal sadhana, every day setting apart 5 or 10 minutes, individually, not collectively, we try to spend some time concentrating upon this mental chanting and slow chanting. Nobody will hear also. And simultaneously we develop this. Along with our usual common run of life, we develop this. And see for ourselves how it helps us in dealing with different types of situations calmly, quietly. Otherwise, in our mind, the division will be there. Ram chanting time experience is something different. Other time, non-chanting time, it is different. Then we will not be able to keep up. In Quest of God, you all remember, every chapter portrays the different types of experiences he had to pass through. Some we name it as adverse, some we name it as okay, positive, neutral, so many things. But he was free from grumblings, complaints, discontentment, or restlessness, or tension, stress-free. All these things, came out because the level-mindedness that has taken place in him. So we pray to him while chanting. You have shown me through various examples, so you kindly enable me to acquire that, so that I will be able to discharge or assign the duty given. The duty is assigned to me in the way in which it should be done. So Nama chanting and our day-to-day life should be linked. Today, at the time of our lunch, nowadays they prepare this horse gram. So somebody said, when you take horse gram, don't take buttermilk. So suddenly we remember, in Malayalam there is a word, Mudarim morum vali avaradu. Mudarim morum, it will be always separate. Mudara means horse gram. Morum means buttermilk. So in our present day, our spiritual discipline is like this, Mudarim, horse gram, and at that time, when you eat horse gram, it is right. When you drink buttermilk, it is right. Both won't go together. That is the case. Now we want it to become one with it. Whatever joy I derive during the chanting, I should be able to derive the same thing when God puts me in different fields. at home, at the workplace, and also with friends. Chanting should be linked. That is why Papa said, spirituality that cannot be applied in actual life is no spirituality. Spirituality that cannot be applied in daily life is not spirituality. Spirituality that cannot be applied in actual life is no spirituality. God is in the world and is acting through every one of us. God realization does not mean disappearing into some unknown realm beyond the world. True spirituality consists in our living in this world, moving in it, serving all beings, all the time being conscious of the divine within us and everywhere around us. So spirituality that cannot be applied. So spirituality we will be able to derive, we will become aware of the spirituality through any method, in our case through chanting. So if we replace the word Nama chanting in the word spirituality, Nama chanting that cannot be applied in actual life is no Nama chanting. Why? Nama stands for God, and God is in the world and is acting through every one of us. So God realization does not mean disappearing into some unknown realm beyond the world. So true Nama chanting consists in our living in this world, moving in it, serving all beings, all the time being conscious of the divine within us, everywhere around us. So today he wants to get more and more clarity on chanting. No? Chanting not to be treated as a discipline, though initially it is taken as a discipline. Ultimately, we should transform the discipline as a part of our living, where we feel His presence. We will again substitute that word and read, Nama chanting that cannot be applied in actual life is no Nama chanting. God is in the world and is acting through every one of us. God realization does not mean disappearing into some unknown realm beyond the world. True Nama chanting consists in our living in this world, moving in it, serving all beings, all the time being conscious of the divine within us and everywhere around us. That is why Papa said constant remembrance. Even if we have not gone very near to it, at least we have understood now, we will try. Every day we will try our level best. Nama chanting should enable me to harmonize with everything that is inside and outside. Inside in the form of thoughts, outside in the form of various situations, individuals, objects. Very happy that, he is again hammering this to us, because that is the mainstay. All this satsang for 1.5 hours, for years together, all these things are to be, zero to this, because our sadhana, main sadhana is Nama chanting. So somewhere in the corner of our mind, whether we do it openly or not, we should be very, very clear about it. That is why he is prompting some devotees um, to touch upon it and bring it out, and then so many thoughts, so many of his words we remember, and it gives us guidance. So may we all try to make use of all these points, all these hints while we take to chanting of Ram Nam. Instead of treating it as a separate discipline, it is at a separate hour, in a separate place, it should become one with our common run of life. Hari Om. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. Pranam, Pranam, Pranam. Pranam, Pranam, Hari Om, Hari Om. Eh?
One and all.